Yes, hello friends. Today we are going to talk about the second part of the chapter Understanding Law. In this, I am going to start with the making of new law. Now, how does new law come about? Or we know, this is the question which arises. So we will be studying about the how the new laws comes about. So, if we see that the new laws we know that parliament has an important role in lawmaking, okay, and in general if we talk about, then we know that a bill comes in the parliament and then it has to pass through the two houses, that means the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and then, or you can say, the pass through the two houses with two-third majority, and then when it passes, then it goes to the president for the signature, and then it becomes a law. So this is the general thing we have been studying about it also. Now the law, when we talk about, then a law is at first introduced in the form of bill, okay. The law which is introduced in the form, when it is introduced, at that time it is said to be a bill, and the bill is a proposal of new law, okay. So this bill which is proposed in the house, that is uh, this bill is the proposal of the new law, and then we will be studying about that there are two types of bills. One is the ordinary bill and the other is the money bill. Now ordinary bill, it can be introduced in any house, that means the lower house and the upper house, it can be introduced in either of the houses. But in money bill, it can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha, okay. Here we are talking about the center, and the Rajya Sabha, it can discuss with the about the money bill, and it can retain it for 14 days, and after the expiry of this time period, if Rajya Sabha doesn't return the bill, then it is assumed to be passed by the Rajya Sabha. Otherwise it can return within the time period of 14 days. Then at times, diverse social and welfare groups too express their concern, and they put pressure on the government to enact the law for the general welfare of the people. These are the some of the things that how the parliament plays a crucial role in the enactment of the law. Okay, if it's talk about the how the parliament plays a critical role in the enactment of the law, then there are different concerns through which the people, they can even put pressure on the government to enact the law, and for the general welfare of the public. And in case the government, they need to be receptive also, and they should understand towards the troubles of the public, because because it is the accountability of the government to, or you can say it is the accountability of the representative to be responsible towards the people. Now we shall also be talking about the domestic violence. Now let us try to understand what is this domestic violence. This domestic violence, it can also imply as physical or mental injuries caused by the adult male, and usually it is the husband, and the injury which is done, that is usually on his wife. It can also be emotional, economical abuse, economic also, and then threats, harassment, all these types of you can say these harassments, these are all forcefully done on the female, or forcefully entering into the woman's residence, or abusing. These are all the domestic violence which is usually done by on the woman. Now when this type of incidents takes place in society, then it is recognized by the people also, and for that the law is required. So for that, let us see how this Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act was passed in 2006, how it came into existence. So it was through the people only. Okay, so first of all, let us try to understand that what are the procedures through which the law-making procedures, what are the law-making procedures through which the bill becomes a law. Then we can also understand that how this domestic violence was act was also passed, and how did it become a law. Now in the it happens, what happens, there is the first reading. Okay, so after the in the first reading, what happened, the member introduces the ordinary bill. Whatever is the ordinary, here we just now I told you that there is an ordinary bill and the money bill. So here we are talking about the ordinary bill. So a member introduces the ordinary bill in the any of the house of the parliament, because ordinary bill can be introduced in any of the houses. Then in second reading, what happens, the bill is discussed in detail, and then changes are also recommended. Okay, if it is discussed, then it can happen that people are having different opinions and different suggestions, so certain changes are also recommended. And then what happens, the bill is sent to the select joint committee, where these members of both the houses of the parliament are there, and have the discussion again. After that, this is said as the third reading, and what happens at the third reading, the bill is redrafted, means there were many suggestions and recommendations, and so again, including all those things, the third reading is done, and there it is again redrafted, and after including the suggestion changes, and then again it is placed before the house. After that, if 50% of the vote is in the favor of the bill, then it is sent to the other house for approval. Okay, it has to be passed to here. Why other house has been said? Because as I told you that ordinary bill can be introduced in any of the house. So if it is Lok Sabha, then it will go to the Rajya Sabha, and if it is introduced in Rajya Sabha, then it will come to the Lok Sabha, and in the same process it has to go, and then if any suggestions and some changes, then again it is included. If the changes are acceptable in the houses where the bill is originating, supposing the bill has originated in Lok Sabha, then it should be acceptable in the Lok Sabha. If the bill has been introduced in the originated in the Rajya Sabha, then it should be acceptable in the Rajya Sabha. Okay, then a joint session is summoned by the president. Okay, and in this session the decisions are taken by the majority votes of the total number of members of both the houses. Okay, whatever is the total figure of the both members of the both the houses, it has to be the majority of the voting in support of the bill. Then this bill is sent to the president for his assent, and then the president, he can also suggest some changes, and then again it is returned back. Okay, it is up to the parliament that whether they accept the changes which the president wants or not. Okay, then again it is sent back to the president, and when it is sent back to the president, then he has to sign it, and then this bill becomes a law. So this we needed to know, because we were talking about the making of the new laws. So how this law is made, that is very necessary to understand. Then let us see the lawmaking procedures. As I told you that citizens of a country play, it is very important that it plays a very vital role, very crucial role in framing of the legislation. And then this when we talk about like this just now, as we were discussing that the domestic law this domestic violence act which was passed in 2006. So let us try to understand that. Now you have got to know that how this entire procedure is there for the lawmaking. So the domestic violence, that is prevention and protection bill, was introduced in the parliament in 2002, and then in 2006 it became a law. So you see this procedure was there, and then here through this bill, though this bill was introduced in the parliament in 2002, okay, but what happened, it did not satisfy the need of the victims of the domestic violence. Whatever was the expected whatever was expected, that was not fulfilled. So again, as a result, what happened, that many women's organization and National Commission for Women, they made submissions to the Parliament and the Standing Committee, and was suggesting some changes. And after a lot of deliberation, again the bill was tabled, that is, it was again put for the discussion in December 2002, and it was eventually most of the demands of the women groups were accepted. Whatever the suggestions were suggested, majorly it was accepted, and finally in 2005 a new bill was reintroduced. Okay, and then again in 2000, after the same procedure which followed, and after the completion of the entire procedure of the lawmaking, then in 2006 it became a law. So this is how it was made. So here again I shall be showing you, supposing a bill is here is the bill which is introduced, and then from here what happens, it is introduction on either of the houses of the, in the case of the when it is non-money bill, okay, that means ordinary bill. Then from here what happens, that bill is sent to the committee for the discussion of the house, okay, and then from here it goes to the committee for the report, and then here it there are many not accept, they may not even accept or accept the or reject the of this report. Then what happens after that, the detailed discussion of the bill of the house is done, and then bill is accepted or rejected. See here, it can be accepted also or rejected also. Then it is sent to the other house, and then other house also it gives, approves, and or gives some recommendation. It can either approve or it can give the recommendation. After that, the joint session of Parliament, if required, then it is done. Otherwise, the President approves and sends it back to the representatives, and then ultimately the bill becomes the law. So this is how the law formation is done. So what happened, that in 2002 it was reintroduced, and then finally in 2005 the bill was reintroduced, and then in 2006 it became a law. So what happened, that we realize that the citizens of the country, they play a very crucial role in framing of the legislation. So here, stop domestic violence, it was also felt by the people, and that is why the law was enacted for that reason. Then let us try to understand that there are laws which are unpopular and it is also controversial. So what is this unpopular and controversial law? So let us try to understand that. Unpopular, that means when people do not like it. And then controversial, that means if it is the matter of controversy between two groups for not being satisfied with the laws. So the law can be unpopular and it can be controversial also. So let us try to so here you got to understand the heading, that is unpopular and controversial laws. Now what happens in Parliament when the law is passed? It is passed through the procedure of the lawmaking system. That is why it is constitutional and it is also legal. But all these legal laws, they are not liked by the people. Okay, it is not necessary that all the laws which are passed, that will all be accepted and liked by the people. So there are many laws which are not liked by the people. That is why it is said to be the unpopular laws. And there are difference of the opinion of the different people. So that is why many laws are controversial also. Now because people feel that the intention behind is unfair and harmful, that is why people might criticize the law and hold public meetings. So these are the reactions which the people show, that they hold the public meeting and write about it in newspapers, reports or TV news, etc. These are the different reactions which the people show, and the citizens can express their unwillingness. If they are not satisfied, then what will they do? They will express their unwillingness and to accept the representative law framed by the parliament. With the law which is being framed by the parliament, that they will show through their reactions that they are unwilling to accept it. And when a large number of people begins to feel that a wrong law has been passed, then there is a pressure on the parliament to change this. Okay, because it is not that any law can be made in a democracy. It is that any law which is being passed, if it is not acceptable and people, majority the people are revolting against, so what happens, the it is the pressure on the parliament that it requires certain changes. Now for example, there was a law made for the hawkers and the street vendors, that they cannot take the side of the streets because it disturbs the transportation. People they are not able to go move smoothly. So here these hawkers and vendors, for these hawkers and vendors the law was made, but it was also the people also discussed that the sources of livelihood of such people, that will become very difficult, and it was that is why the law which was made, that hawkers and vendors they should not take the side of the streets, that was a controversial law. Then it is a it is the law which has been passed. So who is the actual people, who actual person who tells whether the law is proper or not? It is the people who identify the law as unpopular or controversial. So now people, so what when the laws are unpopular or controversial, then people do also react to it. Now how do the people protest against this unpopular and controversial law? It is through the criticizing their actions, if they are required, because it is the citizen, it is the responsibility of the citizen to play their role. So criticisms in the actions, if they require, this is all the role of the citizens, and they can even raise questions to, because it is not that it is the people, just because you have elected the representative your work is done. No, it is the involvement of the people. People should be involved, and that helps the parliament, then only it helps the parliament to perform its representative function properly. Otherwise, if the people will not react, then what will happen? The representatives which are elected, they may not function properly. But here, when the people are involved, then what happens? Then the representatives functioning properly is also very effective. And then we need to understand here that the role of the citizen does not end with the election of the representatives. Just because we have casted our vote and the representative, we have elected our representatives, my work is done. No, the citizens work is not done just by casting the vote. So here we should understand that these are the controversial law, unpopular and controversial laws. So here I am showing you few examples, that the dowry deaths and the cruelty for the women. Then here you see 370 article which was passed, that was also unpopular and controversial, because people did not had the same opinion for the laws which was passed. So these are all about the unpopular and controversial law. Then we should understand the right to information. Okay, now here the court, it is being the guardian of the constitution, and ask the framers of the law to change the legislation that go against the principles of the constitution. So it is very important that the court also takes care for all these things. Now let us try to understand what is this right to information. Now right to information, it helps in the transparency. Okay, it helps in the transparency. Let us see that in democracy what happens, that people, they have a great role because they elect the representatives, and they are these representatives on the behalf of the people only, they take many important decisions. So the role of the people is not only means, I told you that it is not that just because we have elected so our work is over. No, it is the responsibility of the people to react for the get involved in the functioning of the government. Okay, they also observe the people, they are supposed to observe the functioning of the government through the various medias, and if wherever whenever required, criticizing their actions is also the responsibility of the people. Now this transparency relation with the people and their representatives allow smooth functioning of the democratic process. Why? Because more the functioning of the government is transparent, more smoother it is the functioning of the democratic process, because the people are the representatives of the people. Okay, and they are elected by the people, so it is very the government is accountable to the people. That is why it is the people's right that they should be well informed, and that is why they ensures the government and its agencies that they cannot hide anything other than the related, that is for the national security. Supposing uh, uh, certain acts which are revealed and it will hinder the security of the nation, then such things can be hidden. Other than that, everything should be revealed to the people, because the government which is formed, that is the representative of the people only. Okay, so this transparency in the relation is a relation between the people and their representatives, and this allows the smooth functioning of the democratic process. Then we have one more point over here, that is named as public interest litigation. Now public interest litigation gives authority to the common man to seek stay or termination order on a law that is contradictory to public interest. Now let us understand it in a simple word, that in simple words, litigation, public interest litigation. Now the litigation, it is the process of taking legal action. Okay, supposing a litigation is filed in the court of law. Okay, the litigation is filed in the court of law. So for the protection of public interest, it is always filed for the protection of the public interest, such as pollution, terrorism, road safety, or any constructional hazards. These are all the things for which the public interest litigation is filed. Now this public interest litigation is not defined in any of the act. Okay, but it is there for the interest of the people. So today, which all points did we study? That let us have a recall of it. The bill, we talked about the lawmaking procedure, and there are two types of bill. That is, one is the ordinary bill and the other is the money bill. So what is a bill? It is a proposal for a new law, and there are two types of bill, ordinary and the money bill. Then in ordinary bill, that is drafted proposal for ordinary legislation and can be introduced in any house. Then money bill contains provisions related to tax regulation, borrowing of money by government, budgets, etc. And it can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. Then domestic violence, that is prevention and protection bill, that was introduced in the parliament in 2002, and in 2006 it became a law. Then the another thing which we studied, that is, in a democracy people are free to criticize repressive laws passed by the parliament. Such a law opposed by a greater part of population has to be either reframed or changed altogether. So this is all. I hope you must have understood about the understanding law and the making process of the law. That's all for today's video. Thank you.